Don't speak of him in my presence.
Hey, welcome back to the channel. So in this episode, we're going to talk about Holder, and he is a must investment for every single player who play this game. Because even for a late game player, they all still gonna use Hall no matter what happens. He is a must in in certain content in this game, because of his ability to pursue attack. And there are not many experts that can do a pursuit attack. There are only three that do the same pursuit attack as Hall. The Yunchuan, Brewster, and Hall. And the thing is that for Yunchuan and Brewster, they require to be at resonance 2 for them to be able to follow up attack on every single allies, and also at the beginning of the battle. And for Brewster, he has a limited number of follow-up attack. So Hall still gonna be your core Esper in order to fulfill the requirement of follow-up attack in certain content in this game. Now we're gonna see the first skill first. Arrow of Eternal Solitude attacks one enemy, damage 110% attack. This is quite okay, a little bit lower than 120% of the average number. 40% chance of inflicting attack down for 2 turns. Just don't count on this. Like 100% chance of inflicting something is already getting a 20% chance of the enemy to block that effect. And then 75% chance of inflicting something is already a gamble. 40% chance of inflicting something, just don't pray on that. Now going to the passive, when a teammate excluding Hall attacks one target, Hall attacks them too. This is what you want from Hall. This is the best trait Hall has that not many other Esper can follow up on this trait. Now the damage is only 40% attack, but believe me, it's gonna stack up a lot of the time. Like imagine all 5 of your allies attacking. Obviously you're not gonna count Hall. So all 4 of your allies attacking, meaning that in a single turn, 4 will be able to attack 5 times. So the first attack is probably either the third skill or the first skill. We're also not gonna count them, but he has an extra of 160% attack damage in a single turn by following up on his other allies' attack. But obviously, you need your allies to be a single target DPS or attacker, and this can happen if you are fighting against bosses. Because usually fighting against bosses, you're gonna bring a single target DPS Esper, and if you don't use the single target DPS Esper, your support Esper are going to most likely have a single target damage on their first skill. And because usually a support Esper, you're gonna give them a very high speed in order for them to rotate on their support skill much faster, you're gonna see a lot of them gonna use their first skill a lot of the time. So on all those times, Hall gonna follow up the attack on them because the support gonna deal 0 damage. But with Hall being there, your support gonna deal at least a certain damage because of Hall following up on their attack. So you can top up the damage quite a lot because of that. Now the third skill attacks to random enemies. Oh yeah, before we go to there, this one, the damage is its own attack. So if there is an Esper that will trigger something, if certain Esper use their first skill, this follow-up attack will not trigger those things, because this follow-up attack is considered as a damage coming from his second skill instead of his first skill, because his first skill deal 110% attack, while the second skill have its own attack, 40% attack. So this one is his own skill, like this is what he used in following up his allies' damage. So he doesn't follow up using his first skill, but he follow up using his second skill instead. So this is count as second skill. Now the third skill attacks to random enemies, damage 180% attack. Again, this is quite low. Usually you do want to see 240% attack number in here or above, and 80% chance of inflicting defense down and poison on them for 2 turns. This is quite alright, like this is 80% chance. Still a gamble, but it's much better than 75% chance of other Esper. Now, The thing is that because of his nature of following up attack on his allies, he doesn't require any speed. You can just keep his speed at 0 if you can help at that, and you can just go crazy on the critical damage and the attack damage here. And if you do want to give him some accuracy here, it's alright, but other Esper can fulfill this role in inflicting defense down, poison, and the attack down, but being able to afflict them himself is quite a bonus here. And also because I'm using here like a thunder set, obviously because you're gonna use him to fight against bosses, and there's another set for him, like if you do go for the Dark Star Lord, he is not the one dealing damage, like you do want him to survive more than he can deal damage. So this is the set that I use. If I do go to the Dark Star Lord, I give him more HP and also more accuracy, because what I need is him applying poison on the boss instead of him dealing damage. And also the ocean set, because you do want him to try and give the defense down as much as possible, and also the poison, so you do want to reduce the cooldown list here if you can make it. So because of you need to apply more debuffs, you don't really need that damage, so this is another set for him. But in any other situation, like if you do go to the Counter Sonica, then you do want to just increase his damage as much as you can. Like what you need is him fulfilling the 4th attack criteria instead of him applying the poison, so you can just go crazy on damage here. Now if you do want to advance him to level 60, you can do that if you aim for this much damage, but at level 50 himself, because if you do use him only for Dark Star Lord, like that is the place where you 100% guaranteed need to have Hall, then you don't need him at level 60, because you only need him to apply poison. You can just stop him at level 50. But if you do him on if you do use him on Counter Sonica, then you do want to increase his level to level 60, so it's all up to you. Now his resonance, as usual, his attack number here and defense and HP, he used them all because he needs to survive and also he needs to deal damage. But the second resonance, its surviving enemy grants accuracy plus 4%, so if you do have 5 enemies, this increases accuracy by 20%. But then again, he mostly being used against bosses, so there's only 1 enemy there, so he only get a bonus of accuracy 4%, so you still need a ton of accuracy for him. And the 4th resonance, this is what you need out of him, like this is such a huge bonus, because when this Esper is not attacking on their own turn, which means that he trigger his passive, which is his basically his job, like his only job, his damage is increased by 10%, so that's a nice bonus there. And Ascension, as usual, attack for a DPS Esper, and the second one is defense, quite not something that I want, like it's much better to give him HP. And then the passive here is the one that gives the poison for 1 turn if you hit your target, so you do want the 3rd Ascension if you do use him for Dark Star Lord. And then the 4th one increase attack, the 5th one increase attack, the last one increase critical damage by 25%. This is what makes me able to get this much critical damage, so that's what makes his damage quite big. Now going into his Divinate, the base attack and defense and base HP is really needed, and the when bearer's HP percentage is not above the target's arrow of eternal solitude's damage plus 30%. This is his first skill, so this is not something that you aim for either, because you do want to just give him 0 speed, so he's not gonna rotate much on his first skill as much as you want for getting the benefit out of this. So that's pretty much the use of Hall. His captain ability is for PvE content here, but it increased the critical rate of his allies. So this is not something that, you know, that you do aim for. Like you can get a better captain ability instead of his, but he is a very useful Esper. You're gonna use him a lot, and I do want to add something that a lot of players forget about, which is this one, Ain. Ain can increase her allies' damage when she uses her 3rd skill. Where is it? Now this one, while Maker's Strike is on cooldown, if Ain is not incapacitated, grants her teammates excluding Ain extra damage when they attack outside of their turns. Extra damage 5% of Ain's maximum HP triggers one time per turn. So if you do want to aim for maximizing Hall's damage, then you can pair him together with Ain. Otherwise, you can always pair him with Esper that have a very high speed. Then he will rotate and use his attack a lot more often, especially for someone like Valeria and Liam. These two Esper that specialize really well in single target DPS. They both can call Hall like very often. Like they gonna maximize Hall's passive by being able to rotate on their attack like very fast. Another Esper that use a high speed, like someone like Sander, someone like Li Guang, they all can call Hall like very effectively. And like I said again, like every other support Esper, if you do give him a lot of speed, then you can pretty much trigger Hall's passive all the time. So that is Hall. Hope you guys get something new out of this. I bet you get something new out of Ain there. And I'll see you in the next episode. So bye-bye.
If I hadn't run away... Oh, never mind.